Samantha Chakravalesu Atra Gaccantu Devata Saddhammam Munirajas Sunantu Sagga Mokkhadan Dhamma savana kalo ayang bhadantha Dhamma savana kalo ayang bhadantha Dhamma savana kalo ayang bhadantha Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa Evaṃ me sutaṃ ekhaṃ samayaṃ bhagavā rājagahe viharati veluvane kalandaka nivape tena kopana samayena ayasma mahā Kassapo Pippali guhayang viherati abadhiko hoti dukkito balhagilanoti. Today we are going to discuss about sutta called Bojjhaṅga Sutta. This is called Mahā Kassapatthera Bojjhaṅga. So there are different kinds of Bojjhaṅga Suttas. I basically want to discuss about the Bojjhaṅga Dhamma. One time the Buddha was living in Rajgir, Veluvana, that is the bamboo grove temple. And this was the temple which was offered to the Buddha as the first ever Buddhist temple. It was offered by King Bimbisara. One time Venerable Mahākassapa was living in Pippali cave. And that time he was not well. He was afflicted with a disease and he was suffering and he was gravely ill. Then the Blessed One, in the evening time, he visited Venerable Mahākassapa. This is also very interesting because those days they did not have any other communication ways like today. Today we have telephone, mobile phone, so many apps and internet, Wi-Fi, many things. But those days they didn't have any of those things. Somehow the most powerful communication tool was there too. That was Dibbacakku, the divine eye, the clairvoyance. The Buddha as the spiritual master, he could sense any of his disciples if they had some problem. And Venerable Mahākassapa, being a very prominent disciple of the Buddha, when he was sick, the Buddha decided to go there in the evening. During the evening time, Buddha was actually practicing meditation. And then after meditation, the Buddha rose from his meditation and then went to see Venerable Mahākassapa. Well, Kassapa, how is it with you? Are you okay? Doing everything okay? And how is your suffering? Are you bearing it up? And does your painful feeling decrease or increase? Are there signs of decreasing and not increasing? Kachi dukkha vedana patikkamantino abhikkamanti. Patikkamosanam panyayatino abhikkamoti. Then Venerable Mahākassapa said, Name bhante kamaniyang nayapaniyang. Balhame dukkha vedana abhikkamantino patikkamanti. Abhikkamosanam panyayatino patikkamoti. You know, the Blessed One, I can't bear it. It is so intense. The painful feeling is very, very intense. there is a sign of pain not decreasing but increasing. And that time the Buddha says, Kassapa, then these 7 factors of enlightenment, they should be helpful to you. They have been well expounded by me, and they are cultivated and fully developed by me. They are conducive to perfect understanding, to full realization, and to Nibbana. And then the Buddha explains the 7 factors of enlightenment. Sattatiṃsa Bodhhanga Kassapa Maya Sammadakkato Bhavito Bahulikato Abhiññāya Sambodhāya Nibbānāya Sammatati. Mindfulness, the factor of enlightenment, Kassapa, is well expounded by me and is well cultivated and fully developed by me. It conduces to perfect understanding, to full realization, and to Nibbana. And then also Dhammavicaya Sambojjhango ko Kassapa Maya Sammadakkato Bhavito Bahulikato Abhiññāya Sambodhāya Nibbānāya Sammatati. Then investigation of the Dhamma, the second factor of enlightenment. And then the third one, Viriya Sambojjhanga, the third factor of enlightenment is the Viriya, the effort, preserving, persevering effort. And then the fourth one is Pīti Sambojjhanga, that is rapture, the next factor of enlightenment. Passaddhi Sambojjhanga, that is the tranquility, the Samādhi factor of enlightenment, and Upekkhā, the equanimity. These 7 factors of enlightenment, Kassapa, are well expounded by me and are cultivated and fully developed by me. They conduce to perfect understanding, to full realization, and to Nibbana. Tagga Bhagava Bojjhaṅga, Tagga Sugata Bojjhaṅgati, most assuredly, O Blessed One, they are factors of enlightenment. Most assuredly, O Sugata, they are factors of enlightenment. Then Idamavocha Bhagava Attamano Ayasma Maha Kassapo Bhagavato Bhasitang Abhinandi. When the Buddha said that, Venerable Mahākassapa was so happy in his heart. Uttabhichayasma Mahākassapo Tamha Abhada. He was not only delighted at the utterance of the Buddha, but he also thereupon recovered from that affliction. That is the most beautiful thing. Tataha pahino chayasmato mahakassapassa so abadho ahosi iti. And that affliction of the Venerable Mahākassapa disappeared. So that is why this sutta is so important. And that is also why all the Buddhist monks, whenever there is someone sick in a Buddhist community, they go chant. We have chanted this sutta so many times for the benefit and happiness for many people who are sick. So we chant Mahā Kassapatthera Bojjhanga Sutta, Mahā Moggallana Thera Bojjhanga Sutta, and Mahā Chundathera Bojjhanga Sutta. These are called Bojjhanga Suttas, 3 Bojjhanga Suttas. Even during the pandemic, we used to chant this sutta hundreds of times. We really think that these 7 factors of enlightenment and these Bojjhanga Suttas are really helpful. Just chanting these suttas will also give some healing effect to people for sure. But if we know the real profundity of this sutta, that is the most important thing. So it's really important that we discuss about this a little bit more. So what happens here in the 7 factors of enlightenment? There are something called 37 factors of enlightenment. They are called Sattatiṃsa Bodhipakkhiya Dhammā. So these Bodhipakkhiya Dhammas, or requisites for enlightenment, are very, very powerful and very, very important to all the people who are practicing. And if any of you are intending to attain Nibbana by way of becoming Samma Sambuddha, you still have to practice the 37 factors of enlightenment. Or else if you want to attain the Pacceka Buddha or Samma Sambuddha, is too much for me. I don't think I can make it, but I am more interested in Pacceka Buddha. Yes, you can. Then also you have to work on these 37 factors of enlightenment. Or else you can say, I don't want to become Pacceka Buddha. I want to become just Arahanta. Okay, that is also possible. But then again, you have to practice 37 factors of enlightenment. These Sattatiṃsa Bodhipakkhiya Dhammā are really, really important dhammas that we all need to practice. So in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, the Buddha says, monks, I say to you that these teachings of which I have direct knowledge and which I have made known to you, these you should thoroughly learn, cultivate, develop, and frequently practice. In Pali, it is said, Bhavita Bahulikata. You need to practice it all the time so that the life of purity may be established and may long endure for the welfare and happiness of the multitude. Out of compassion for the world, for the benefit, well-being, and happiness of gods and men. And what bhikkhus are these teachings? They are the four foundations of mindfulness, four right efforts, four constituents of psychic power, the five faculties, the five powers, the seven factors of enlightenment, and Noble Eightfold Path. So, seven factors of enlightenment are also included right here among these 37 factors of enlightenment. So, if you take a look at these will be really helpful, and learning all these 37 factors of enlightenment, having a list of them and learning them by heart, just the names, and then learning those meanings, the profound meanings of these 37 factors of enlightenment, and employing this in day-to-day lifestyle, and how to cultivate, how to develop, how to practice these 37 factors of enlightenment will be very helpful. In the Passaddhika Sutta of Nikaya, for example, as a means of avoiding any disagreement or dispute about the teaching and referring to these 37, the Buddha advised the disciple, all of you whom I have taught these truths or the 37 factors of enlightenment that I have directly known should gather together and recite them, comparing meaning with meaning, comparing text with text without dissension, so that the holy life, Brahmacharya, will last long. So these seven groups are there, 37 factors. There are seven groups you need to remember. Four foundations of mindfulness, what we call Satipatthana, four Satipatthanas. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the entire Satipatthana Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 10, and also in Digha Nikaya, we have extensive discussion on these four foundations of mindfulness. Then four types of right effort, Sammapadhana, really, really important teaching. Of course, these are not individual, but they are mutually related to each other as well. And then four bases of mental power, these are called Iddhipada, third category. Five spiritual faculties, Pancha Indriya. These are not the Pancha Indriya that we normally talk about. These are different Pancha Indriyas, five faculties. These are Sati, the mindfulness and all these things, not the Chakkusota Gana Jivha Kayamana. This is different. And five spiritual powers, Panchabala, and seven factors of enlightenment, Satta Bojjhanga, and the Noble Eightfold Path. So these are the seven categories, groups that you need to remember. All of them together becomes 37. Satipatthana, Sammapadhana, Iddhipada, Pancha Indriya, Pancha Bala, Satta Bojjhanga, and Arya Artangika Magga. We just go through quickly these categories so that we can have a look, but I want to discuss more about the Satta Bojjhanga Dhammas. So the four foundations of mindfulness are contemplation of the body, that is Kayanupassana, and feeling, Vedananupassana, and mind, Chittanupassana, and mind objects, Dhammanupassana. Because this is the one, the only way for the purification of beings, for overcoming sorrow and lamentation, for the cessation of physical and mental pain, for attainment of the noble path, and for the realization of the Nibbana. These four Satipatthanas are really important to all of us. And then we have the four types of right effort, that is called Satipatthana, Chattaro Sammapadhana. Effort to prevent the arising of unarisen, unwholesome mental state. This is called Samvarapadhana. We have to use our discipline to get rid of or prevent the arising of unarisen, unwholesome mental states. This is the first effort. And the second one is to abandon the unwholesome mental states that have already arisen within you. That is called Pahana Padhana. So Sangvara Padhana and Pahana Padhana. And then the third one is effort to cultivate unarisen wholesome mental states. That is Bhavana Padhana. So you don't have certain wholesome qualities, mental states, then you have to make an effort. Doesn't happen just like that. You have to make an effort. And the fourth one is effort to maintain wholesome mental states that have already arisen. This is called Anurakkhana Padhana. So Sangvara Padhana, Pahana Padhana, and then Bhavana Padhana and Anurakkhana Padhana. These are the Samma Padhanas, the four right efforts that we have to work on. So unwholesome things that you have to get rid of them. And then if you don't have, you don't let them arise, and cultivate the unarisen wholesome mental states, and then also maintain and develop further the already arisen wholesome state. This is called Chattaro Sammapadana, for right efforts. And then for basis of mental power, Iddhipada. This is called Chanda, Viriya, Chitta, Vimansa. Chanda is the desire or will of to act, and then effort or energy, and consciousness or mind, and investigation or discrimination. This is Chanda, Chitta, Virya, Vimansa. These four mental powers or Iddhipadas. Then five spiritual faculties, as I mentioned, Pancha Indriya. These are really, again, very important things, starting with the most important, Saddha, faith or conviction, and Viriya, energy or effort, and then Sati, mindfulness, and Samādhi, concentration, and Panya, wisdom. So these words can be overlapped here and there within these seven categories, within these 37 factors of enlightenment. They have different roles in different categories and also can be interrelated. So this is Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samādhi, Panya. These are also again really important. And then we also have five spiritual powers. Again, Panchabala. Again, the same thing. So these faculties and spiritual powers are very similar in number and terminology for sure. And when five spiritual faculties are developed and cultivated, they become firm and strong and powerful enough so that they can control the factors that can oppose the five spiritual faculties. Working on these things, again, very important. And then the seven factors of enlightenment that we were talking about in the Sutta, Mahā Kassapatthera Bojjhaṅga Sutta. Mindfulness, Sati, investigation of Dhamma, Dhammavicaya, energy or effort, Viriya, and then rapture or joy, Pīti, and then tranquility, Passaddhi, and concentration, Samādhi, and Upekkhā, equanimity. These are the seven factors of enlightenment. And I will come back to this later on. First, we will just go through the names of the other last group, that is the Noble Eightfold Path. Arya Atthangika Magga. Everyone, I think, should be more comfortable with this. Right view, Samādhi, right intention, Samma Sankappa, right speech, Samma Vacha, right action, Samma Kammanta, and right livelihood, Samma Ajiva, and right effort, Samma Vayama, and right mindfulness, Samma Sati, and right concentration, Samma, Samādhi. This is also further divided into Sila Samadhi, Panya, morality, concentration, and wisdom. So this Noble Eightfold Path again plays a very important role here in our pursuit of Nibbana, the spiritual final liberation. So the Bojjhaṅga or the Bodhianga, again really important to learn and know. Bodhi means enlightenment, and anga means causative factor or just factor. So this refers to the bodhi or the understanding or the liberation, enlightenment. There can be many multiple meanings related to this word bodhi. And also the bodhi tree is used for that particular tree under which the Buddha attained the Nibbana. He attained the Buddhahood. So that tree was also called bodhi, and ever since it has become so powerful tree, and it is such the most respected tree in the world, the entire world so far is the bodhi tree, and especially among the Buddhist community. Even here in the North America, even if it is very cold, the Buddhist community, they try to keep the bodhi tree small plant. They would keep it in a pot, and they keep it inside the house so that they can preserve the bodhi tree during the intense cold season. And whereas Southern California and other places where the bodhi tree can find more friendly weather, the bodhi tree grows really beautifully. So that is about the bodhi tree. The bodhi means enlightenment. Whenever we practice under the bodhi tree, we feel much more comfortable, and we also constantly remembered or reminded of the Buddha's awakening there. So it's important to realize the Four Noble Truths. Working on that will be the key. So, mindfulness, the first factor of enlightenment, this is the non judgmental awareness from moment to moment, and also seventh factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, if we remember Samma Sati. And then again, Sati is there in many, many different ways. Sati is the mindfulness. We really need to have the mindfulness all the time. For example, a practitioner has to improve the mindfulness all the time. It is said, Gate tite nisinne sutte jagarite sampajanakari hoti. Like when you go here and there, when you stand, when you sit, when you sleep, when you lay down, or stand, work, think, even when you take shower, when you brush, every time you have to be mindful about. The mindfulness is so much existing in us that even when we talk, we are mindful about our talk. And when we are quiet, also we are mindful about our quiet. That is really amazing. And also, whenever you get some wholesome thoughts, you are mindful about that. Oh, a wholesome thought came to me. You are mindful about that. And then unwholesome thought can also come for sure. And then also you are mindful about that. And that is the most important thing, that we are aware of that. And in meditation, what we do is, of course, try to be mindful about those things, whatever happens. And then also try to be at the present moment, with the mind constantly trying to run to past or the future. And in the meditation, you try to be at the present moment, or try to recognize those thoughts, whether they are in the past or the future, and then coming back to the present moment or the meditation object. That is the most important thing. It is explained in so many ways in the suttas. And the second factor is the investigation. It refers to the quality of mind and critically discriminates and investigates. Dhammavicaya means investigating into the nature of mind and matter, or mental and physical phenomena. This is more to do with the developing of wisdom, analytical capacity, and you need to understand the anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanence and suffering, and also complete absence of any concrete self. So when you have this quality Dhammavicaya, that this will also be again very helpful. Once again, it's very important in order to practice this mindfulness or Dhammavicaya. The Atthakathas also give many different explanations about this, how to practice these things and what kind of things are there, like Yoniso Manasikara, for example, for Sattatiṃsa Bodhjhanga is a really important thing. And then in Dhammavicaya Bojjhanga, we need to remember the kusala dhamma. Yoniso manasikara bahula. This yoniso manasikara means you need to be alert. You need to be constantly alert and mindful about this. Anuppannasava dhammavicaya sambojjhangasa upadaya. Uppannasava dhammavicaya sambojjhangasa bhiyo bhavaya vepullaya bhavanaya paripurya. So when the Dhammavicaya Sambojjhanga is not there, you need to make some effort to get it back. So there are different ways that we can use. For example, Indriya Samatta Patipadana, Duppanya Puggala Parivajjana, Panyavanta Puggala Sevana. These are some of the things that we can apply. For example, in order to cultivate the Dhammavicaya Sambojjhanga, we need to get rid of the foolish people who are not practicing any Dhamma, who are not really useful to your practice. You have to get rid of them because they might be rather disturbing your practice. And also, Panyavanta Puggala Sevana means you need to associate people who are really practicing, who are helpful to you. Whenever you see them, that association of them is very helpful to your practice. You need to work on that. Indriya Samatha Patipadana, you also need to practice. You need to have that discipline in you. So these are some of the things that we need to work on. Then again, we have Viriya Sambojjhanga. Viriya Sambojjhanga is the effort that we make, as we mentioned before, like the four kinds of effort. And also Arambha Dhatu, Nikkama Dhatu, Parakkama Dhatu, there are three kinds of efforts. It is very easy to start new projects. And the most important thing is not starting, but sustaining and keep working on that. And until you achieve your goal, you're not giving it up. And these are really important, like starting and then again working on it, sustaining until you achieve your final goal. These are called Arambha Dhatu, Nikkama Dhatu, and Parakkama Dhatu. Again, Yoniso Manasikara is really important. You need to keep that alertness all the time. And Viriya, or the effort, again, really important for practicing, for any practitioner. Because anytime we do something good, the most disturbing thing that can happen to us is Thinamidda. Thinamidda is the sloth and torpor. So when you meditate, you feel, okay, enough, now I have pain, I have to stop now. I was meditating in the morning, so I don't need to meditate in the evening. Okay, now I am a little bit sleepy, so I can meditate now. Or else today is a cold day, I don't want to meditate. Or else you can say it's very hot weather, I don't want to meditate. Or it's very windy, I'm hungry. You try to make so many excuses. So we have to be very careful about these. Are actually called Thinamidha. These are the hindrances that can disrupt our meditation. So Viriya should be the one that fight against this Thinamidha, this Tadadi Muddhata. We have to really make some effort to get rid of those things. And there is a beautiful story about Venerable Mahāmitta. Venerable Mahāmitta was practicing in the mountain, and one day he was coming down for his Pindapata, arms round. And then he overheard an old lady instructing her younger daughter about the food that she needs to prepare for the monk who will be coming for the Pindapata. And she already instructed, there is the rice and the other things over here, and you may prepare a delicious dana for the monk. And for me, as I'm going out for some work to the city, so just prepare something very simple for me. That is okay for me. But prepare the best food possible for the monk. The monk overheard this discussion, and he felt like, look at these wonderful people who are making so much good karma by trying to facilitate my meditation. So I should not accept this Pindapata right now. I should go back to the mountain and meditate. I should be attain arahanthood before accepting the dana. So the monk went back. He has been already practicing. He was finding it much more conducive now, and also it was kind of inspiring for him to practice a little bit more. And he closed his eyes, he settled in on his seat, and then he immediately got a very strong concentration, and all the paramita power, and his constant practice, and his determination, and his Viriya effort helped him attain the arahanthood as soon as possible. And immediately after the meditation, he was thinking whether it is time for him to go back to the Pindapata. And then it is said there was a tree guard at the corner of the temple, and a tree guard came down, and he saw the monk already attained arahanthood, and he came in disguise as a human and paid respect to the monk, and he said, Bhante, it is still time for the dana. Please go ahead and accept the Pindapata. And the monk went down, accepted the Pindapata. The young daughter who offered the Pindapata was also very happy to see the monk in a very amazing features today, much different from before. So she immediately informed about that to her mother when she returned. And then the mother definitely, she knew that he has achieved his spiritual goal, and she paid respect to the monk from there. She kept her palms together in Anjali mode, placed them on her forehead, and paid respect to the monk, bowed to that side. How wonderful! And Anumodana, she said. And this is the kind of Viriya that we all need to have in us. And there are more stories like this, how this kusita or the thina middha can disrupt or destroy our spiritual practice. So we need to really work on that. In Sigalova, the sutta also, it is mentioned, now it is too cold, now it is too late, now it is too hungry, now it is too full. You try to, procrastinate things all the time. So this Viriya in that way is a really important thing. And Viriya also is a paramita. And then Pīti. Pīti is the, what we call the other Sambojjhanga. So, Pīti Sambojjhanga Thāniya Dhamma. Again, Yonso Manusikara is an important thing. Pīti Sambojjhanga, when you have Pīti Sambojjhanga more, the rapture more, and that way you can also have much more powerful energy. So there are 11 kind of ways to improve Pīti Sambojjhanga. Buddhanusati, Dhammanusati, Sanghanusati, Silanusati, Chaganusati, Devatanusati, Upasamanusati. These 7 Anusati practices can definitely improve our Pīti. We think of the Buddha, we practice on the contemplation, on the Buddha's wonderful qualities, and you will have much more powerful Pīti. And then Luka Puggala Parivajjana, again, get rid of some of the people who are very negative. And Sinidda Puggala Seyamanata, again, very important. You see some of those wonderful people who are really delicate and very amicable and amiable and really nice people whom you can get benefited. And Pasadaniya Suttanta Pachavikana, that means you also need to learn the Dhamma and Tadadi Muttata and make effort. So this way you can also improve your Pīti Sambojjhanga. Passaddhi Sambojjhanga is called Kaya Passaddhi and Chitta Passaddhi. And then again you need the Yoniso Manasikara. So this is also actually related to Chitta Cetasikas, Kaya Passaddhi and Chitta Passaddhi. And this Passaddhi Sambojjhanga, so in order to do that, we also need Panita Bhojana Sevanata, Utu Sukha Sevanata, Iryapata Sukha Sevanata, and Majjhatta Payogata, Saradha Kaya Puggala Vajjanata, and Pasaddha Kaya Puggala Sevanata, and Tadadimuttata. There are again different ways to improve this one. Panita Bhojana Sevana means you need to have good food. Good food in the sense it's not very delicious or whatever, but the food that is more comfortable for your practice. Let's say some like very high calorie or very high protein or maybe like meat and all that stuff will not be conducive for a practitioner because they are more energy and it can also arouse, generate some defilement. For a practitioner, just simple food, easy to digest food would be more comfortable. And also, Utusukha Sevanata means the weather also should be comfortable. Iriyapata Sukha Sevanata means you need to also practice in a much more comfortable posture. There are some of these things that can be helpful to you. And then the Samādhi Sambojjhanga, again, Samādhi is the concentration. Concentration like different ways like Indriya Samatta Patipadanata, Nimitta Kusalata, Tamaya Chittasa Pagganhanata. And these are some of the things that we can improve our Samadhi. Again, very important to have the Sati or the what we call Yoniso Manasikara. When we keep working on Samadhi, and it will be helpful for us in our Upekkhā. Upekkhā is the equanimity, and Upekkhā, when we have that Upekkhā, again there are different kinds of ways to practice Upekkhā. Sometimes even for a monk, let's say a monk who has some disciples, they are very attached to the teacher and they take well care of him and they are more lenient to him, more loyal to him. But then again, the monk should not be carried away by that. He has to maintain equanimity no matter what. It's hard, but this is how you should do it continuously. Maybe there are like devotees who are more comfortable or more lenient to the monks and they are more friendly with the monks. And then again, the monks have to be careful not to be carried away by that. They have to maintain the equanimity no matter what. So even the pets can be close to you. You still have to maintain the balance, not too much attached to them again. All these things are important to practice equanimity. These are the 7 factors of enlightenment. With the time factor, quickly explain these things. And if you want to learn a little bit more about this, for example, the 4 ways of attending to mindfulness, Majjhima Nikaya 10, Satipatthana Sutta is a really good Sutta Map. And then for right strivings, you can go practice. You can just read Anguttara Nikaya 413 and Anguttara Nikaya 414. These 2 suttas can be more helpful. And then again, for paths to power, you can use Samyutta Nikaya 51:15 and Samyutta Nikaya 51:20. They are also very helpful. And then 5 faculties, Anguttara Nikaya 4:162 and Anguttara Nikaya 4:163. These 2 can be helpful. And for Panchabala or 5 strengths, Anguttara Nikaya 5:14 is good. And 7 factors of enlightenment, Samyutta Nikaya 46:5 and Noble Eightfold Path, Samyutta Nikaya 45.8. These are some of the suttas that we can use as a map to learn more and improve 37 factors of enlightenment. Okay, I think this was helpful to you. And let's see if we have any questions, at least a few. Okay, so we have a question here. Can being mindful, the seventh factor on path, also be thought of as noticing five hindrances and they are opposite? I think you may have explained this. Yes, I think so. I think I have explained about that. So, seventh factor on the path, Samasati. We need to work on this more, and we need to be mindful about the hindrances, Dhinamidda, and all the other hindrances as well, so that we can be in the right path. When noticing an unwholesome mind state and able to lessen it or even replace it with wholesome, is this mindfulness but not right mindfulness? Yes, mindfulness can be right mindfulness and wrong mindfulness. Samma Sati and Micha Sati. So Samasati is the one we are talking about here. When you recognize that your mind is occupied by unwholesome thing, you do not allow that to be there. You need to make, but you should not do it at the very beginning. It's really important as a beginner. You just observe. Do not try to resist them at the beginning. It can be detrimental to your meditation if you try to get rid of those things at the beginning, because the mind, not even the world, at the beginning nobody like to accept any change right away. It takes time. Anytime, whenever there is a change in the world will not accept it right away. It takes time. Same thing with the mind. If you try to resist, the mind will not like it, and then it will create more troubles. So just observe it and be friendly with your mind. And then when you become a friend, the mind will listen to you better and easier for you to control. Later on, you should be smart, you should be skillful enough to take control of the situation, and you should empower your mindfulness as the gatekeeper to keep those unwholesome states. You can even not allow them to your mind right away, but not at the beginning. At the beginning, just observe, okay, anger came, jealousy came, lust came, all these things came, you recognize them. That is important at the beginning. And eventually, you should be able to get rid of them. That mindfulness is important. Sometimes, even for a meditation practitioner, you might not even know that you just been carried away, swept away by those currents of thoughts without even recognizing anything what was happening. So mindfulness is really, really, really important. Yeah. So it should be done with constant practice, not only with the sitting, but also with your day to day work. You have to be mindful with what you do. Whether you are driving or cooking or taking shower or whatever, just be mindful. That will be helpful for you to sharpen your practice. Okay, we have Sud. Dear Venerable, can you explain what will improve Samadhi again? And how does one enter Upachara Samadhi? Is it more important to try to focus on developing Pīti Sukha? Should one focus on Buddhanusati? Quite a few questions now. Yeah. So to improve Samadhi again, that Yoniso Manasikara, Sati Sampajanya, these are important factors. And then again, Upachara Samadhi is something that is at the very beginning. Let's say you think of the Buddha, you can also see a Buddha statue right behind me over here. And so, whatever Buddha picture or a statue that you feel comfortable, you are more familiar with, you can take good look at it and then maybe look at it for a while, gaze at the Buddha statue for a while, and then you close your eyes. Think of that Buddha statue. When you close your eyes, you can visually imagine that Buddha statue. And then what you do? You think of the Buddha's qualities like Arahang, Samma, Sambuddho. Vijja Charana Sampanno, Sugato Lokavidu, any of those qualities. One, even Arahang quality is good enough. Arahang means Buddha attained the arahanthood or the Buddhahood, and he had got rid of all the defilements, and he had not done anything wrong, even in secret. His mind is so pure, and that perfect enlightenment, when you think of it, and also you say you pay respect to the Buddha for that, and the more you keep repeating that, keep thinking on that, contemplate on that Buddha quality, that way you will feel much more happy, Pīti, and you will also be able to practice more. Upachara Samadhi means when you close your eyes, you can see the Buddha. Just like any other meditation object, like even the Anapanasati, you can see the mind, what you call the breath column. You can sharpen your concentration on that. That will be Upachara Samadhi. And that also is a good improvement, in fact. Later on, you need to remember the Patibhaga Nimitta. That will be a very key achievement. This counterpart sign, really, really important thing. And in order to do that, you also need to maintain the sila. Again, very important. Yes. Yeah, important to keep working on these things. You can practice on Buddhanusati, or you can practice on Anapanasati. You can practice on Asubha Marananusati, depending on your temperament, in fact. But if you keep practicing on different practices like loving kindness, you will yourself find that this meditation works better for me. Remember, certain meditations works better at certain time, maybe certain sessions, and not every time that will give you the best impression. So you can also keep changing, moving, shifting. That's fine. You can even practice several meditations together, little by little. Thank you for the guidance to observe and not try to change things so quickly. Yeah. Yes. Process with no defined timeline. I think, yeah, it is not advisable to have a timeline like that. Depends on person to person. But if you keep working on that, you might be able to do it faster. All right. So with that, we call it a day. And thank you everyone for joining us today with this wonderful Dhamma sharing. And with that, we conclude today's Dhamma talk. And let us keep our palms together and say 3 times Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. May you all be well, happy, healthy, safe wherever you are. May the Noble Triple Gem bless you, help you, protect you, and guide you towards the right path. May you be able to live your life peacefully, comfortably, with good health. May you and your loved ones, your family, friends, relatives, teachers, elders, everyone in your community, everyone in your country, everyone in the world be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. May all the departed ones of all of you be able to share this merit, receive this merit. May they be well, happy, healthy, safe wherever they are. May all devas, brahmas, all sentient beings be also able to share this merit. May all of us and all of them be able to attain the final liberation, the supreme bliss of Nibbana, the absolute peace and happiness at the end of our samsara. Thinking thus, please keep your palms together close to your heart and say 3 times Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. I would like to chant a short blessing to invoke blessings upon all of you. Abhivadana silis nichang vadha pachayino chattaro dhamma vadhante ayuvanno sukhang balang Ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevaca ato nibbana sampatti iminate samijjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, everyone.